Our next speaker is Rob, and I've told him I'll get this right, Riedlinger. And Rob was a contractor, used to build for years, and he is EHS sensitive. That means that all this Wi-Fi and everything gets him, I don't know what his symptoms are, I'm sure he'll tell you about that. Anyway, so Rob's going to talk and come on up.
As she said, my name is Robert Riedlinger. I am sensitive to radiation, and I'm not afraid to speak about it, like a lot of people are, because they have classed it as a psychosomatic disease. It's not. It's physical. The reason they call it psychosomatic is because they hired a psychiatrist in Great Britain. They funded him by the wireless industry, and he's not even a scientist, but he did a couple of studies with people, and they couldn't tell every time that the power was on. But there was people that were in that test that were actually had to leave because they couldn't stand the radiation. So they didn't count those people, you see. But these people, like that psychiatrist, he is working for this industry. Health Canada says, James Rubin says that people can't even tell when it's on. So they all go by him. But it's not a fact. I know why I'm sensitive. I bought a house near a tower in Harrison Hot Springs. It was a CBC tower about 80 feet high. It was 375 feet from my house. After I moved into that house, my head started to get pressure. I couldn't sleep. I had stomach problems. I had pain in my joints. Sometimes I couldn't get out of bed. And they say there's no health problems. There's something wrong with their thinking. So I'm a healthy man. I'm 83 years old, and I can still do a day's work. Because I moved out of that damn house. That's the only reason. And I call it the house of horrors. I had to get out of it, leave it empty for a year, because I was afraid to sell it. I was afraid to let a family come in there. But I was paying $1,500 a month mortgage, and I had to rent it or sell it. So I rented it for a while. Took a loss when I sold it. But they can't tell me that there's no health problems. I wrote a letter to BC Hydro, one. I wrote 20. And one of them is this. In the Second World War, many people lost their lives fighting to preserve democracy. I did not die. I was ready to fight, and still am, for the rights and freedom that our soldiers died for. As I told you, BC Hydro, many times, as I am hypersensitive to microwave radiation, I cannot, nor will I, willingly accept a microwave emitting device being attached to my house. For BC Hydro to threaten me with high penalty to stop providing me with necessity is nothing less than extortion, which I believe is against the law in Canada. I have been a BC Hydro customer for 60 years, always paid my bill on time, and I'm very upset that I am being treated in such a dictative manner. I repeat, if I am forced to have a toxic microwave emitting meter placed on my home, and if that meter affects my health, I will give notice in writing to remove the meter within a certain time period, and if it's not removed, I will have it replaced with an analog. In the meantime, my meter is caged. And in order to install your toxic microwave radiating meter, you will have to break into the meter area, which I would class as break and entry, which is also illegal in Canada. This is a letter I wrote to them directly. If BC Hydro charges me for the retaining of an analog meter, I will class that as an act of extortion. Yours truly, Robert Riedlinger, Silverdale, BC. Now, have I got a couple of minutes left? When I moved into that house, before I moved in, I'd see my doctor maybe once a year. When I moved in there, I didn't know what was happening to me. I had to discover this on my own. I didn't have any instruments. But I did discover it, because I'm the kind of a guy. If my car breaks down, I have to know what's wrong, and I have to fix it. That's the way I am, all my life. So I discovered it by, I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd feel pain in my ear, buzzing in my head. I'd have to get up, I'd get pressure in my head. I'd sit in my front room on my chair, and I'd sit there for a while, and I'd start getting pain in my right ear. Oh, well, it must be coming from that direction. So I turned 180 degrees. Sure enough, the pain started in my left ear. So I said, what's in that area? I saw the tower there when I bought the place, but I didn't think about the damn thing being, harmful to my health. I didn't mind the height of it. I didn't mind the color of it. Like they say, oh, people get scared because they see that. No, it wasn't like that, because I bought the property knowing it was there. So, what's going on? I get up in the morning, walk around town, come back to that tower, and I'd get closer, the pressure would build up in my head. Oh yeah, so it was that tower. Then I talked to neighbors. A couple of neighbors had the same feelings, but they didn't know what it was. They didn't do the discovery like I did. So I got a hold of, I went to my doctor. He gave me about 5 different prescriptions. Now that's costing the medical plan. And it didn't help. So then he said, well, we don't know what to do with you. We'll have to send you for hearing tests. Well, I said, that doesn't help, because it's just a wooden box that I used to build those things. That's not going to hold out radiation. Well, you have to take that test. I did. 2 of them. That's another expense to the medical plan. Now, how many people are doing that because of this same problem and not knowing what the hell's wrong? Right now, 40%. Right now, 40%, it's been announced in the news, of our provincial budget is going towards medical. What the hell's going on? 10 years from now, it'll be the full budget. Yeah. With these smart meters, they better build high hospitals, because I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of sick people. In the meantime, so what I did, I found out it was that, so I started writing letters to Industry Canada. I phoned up, I got a hold of a George Green. I said, can you come out, because there's something coming off that tower that's making me sick. Oh, well, he said, I can't come out on health complaints. I can only come out if you have static in your radio or your television. That's how they care about our health. So I said, look, I turned my transistor radio on, and it went, I I said, is that enough static? Yeah, I'll be out on Monday morning. So he came out, and he had a transistor radio. I said, is that what you use to check this radiation? Yeah, that's all we do. That's all we have. I couldn't believe it. So I got a hold of the Provincial Radiation Bureau. Randy Ross, probably lots of people know about him. He came out with an instrument. And he had a little leather box with this instrument in it. And he had it, took it out of his truck at the highest area the radiation was coming from that tower. And it showed a reading. So he said, I have to calibrate this. So he stuck this instrument, the head of it, into this box, and the lid was part open. So I know now that it wasn't a proper reading, because you have to have it completely in a white zone. So he said, oh no, there's no problem here. He sent me a letter back, a fax. He said, we didn't find any radiation at your place at all. Well, there's a television station blasting off TV waves, an FM radio station blasting off radio waves, and antennas for cell phones, and there's no radiation. "400 feet from the damn thing?" I said, take it down. Anyway, I sent a letter, or many letters. I've got a stack of letters at home. If I had a pile of my information on pages, it'd be 9 feet high that I printed off. I have more information than anybody, I think, in Canada about this radiation. There's part of my stuff right there. That's only a beginning on that placard. I wrote a letter to Health Canada, like the Radiation Protection Office, and I asked them what they'll do about this radiation coming off that tower. He wrote a letter back to me and said, please, you can be guaranteed, in other words, that radiation from the tower is not affecting your health. Oh, in other words, they know what they're doing. It's helpless, you know, it's not hurting me. In the next paragraph, pretty well, they say, Health Canada is monitoring the science from around the world to see if there is any problem. Now, what are they saying? They don't know what they're talking about. In one sentence they say it's guaranteed harmless, and the next sentence we're checking it out to see if it is. That's how. And one more thing. If you think that our provincial government is concerned about your health, I'll tell you what. If people remember the power line going through Tsawwassen, when people were up in arms and they said, we don't want that power line, they stood in front of the machinery and they said, stop it. Mr. Campbell bulldozed his way through, put the power line up. They started lawsuits against him. What did he do? He bought the houses, about 100 houses, bought them out of people that wanted to get out of there. What did he do then? He kept them off the market for a couple of years and sold them to unsuspecting people. Now, if these people get leukemia, which the World Health Organization has classed that as a to be carcinogen from power lines before they did the higher frequencies. Now if the people get leukemia or other illnesses and they want to sue, the government can say, I'm sorry, but you saw the power line there when you bought. That's how they should have demolished those bloody houses and taken them away from the power line, not let people move in there innocently and let their children get leukemia.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rob Riedlinger.